Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hyperconscious Podcast. Alan, what is hyperconscious?
Once you understand why something is the way that it is, now you have the power to change it. Great conversations with great people and great questions are the keys to the kingdom of unlocking your consciousness.
Every single action that you do starts as a thought. When you control the way you think, you will control the way you act, and you will control the way you live. That is hyperconscious. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hyperconscious Podcast is proudly sponsored by our friend and mentor, David Meltzer of the Playbook Podcast. He was kind enough to join us on episode 144 and 135.
Folks, it has become Kevin and I's mission in life to help you realize that the life of your dreams is right on the other side of you becoming the greatest version of yourself. Let us help you do that.
I rarely do these things twice in such a short amount of time, but you guys impress me. I believe in people that provide value and of our service. You two guys are on your way to huge fulfillment, purpose, and profitability, and I look forward to helping you both.
We appreciate that more than you know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our latest 5-minute clinic where Alan and I sat down and talked all about attitude and how to change yours. Today, we are going to do a small talks episode on the word happiness. So we kind of teased this in our previous episodes.
Oh, yeah?
I think we talked about success, and everybody has a different definition of success, and I think it's the same with happiness. So in order to figure out what happiness means to you and how to get there, you have to first define it. So we're going to define it and then go into it.
So I have the definition up right now. Kev, do you mind increasing my levels real quick, if you don't mind?
What do you think this is, man?
I know, I'm sorry.
Is that me?
Turn up the mic.
Try that.
Turning up the mic. Ooh.
Better?
A little bit more. Perfect. Okay, word. Okay, so happiness. There's two definitions. One of them uses the word happy in the definition. So definition 1 is the quality or state of being happy. Number 2 is good fortune, pleasure, contentment, and joy. Those are the two definitions.
I don't like those definitions at all, if I'm honest.
I know. Well, that's why we're going to ask you some questions, which I have prepared here.
I'm also, just for the listeners, can the viewers see this? Yeah, I'm wearing sandals with socks, so that's how I feel. It's summer, baby.
He's that guy.
I'm that guy.
He's that guy.
All right, ask me some questions.
So here we go. We are all told growing up that the goal in life is to be happy.
Yes.
While I understand why people say that, I fundamentally disagree with that statement because I'm not sure we were ever really taught how to grow and sustain happiness.
Right.
For the question.
Right, yeah, I was going to say, where's the question?
That said, what did the old pre-podcast Kevin think when it comes to happiness? And how do you think about happiness now?
I know for a fact that I used to think happiness was comfort. I used to say that one of the things I gave up when I was traveling all over the place, so I gave up comfort for money. And I thought I wanted comfort. Now, I think there's different levels of comfort, but I don't think staying in your comfort zone is a good thing. So I used to think happiness to me was just doing the things that made me feel good. Not even necessarily the things that I wanted, because the things that I wanted didn't always make me feel good. But I used to do the things that would make me feel good more than the things I wanted. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. A lot of people are doing the things that they're taking the easy route. Like, you know, they're not going to the beach because they don't want to have to take their shirt off and realize, oh shit, I'm embarrassed.
Right.
They're not looking in the mirror every day. They're not getting on the scale. They're not doing the things that they should be doing because they don't make them happy. But the thing is, if you do those things, if you use that moment of pain as your motivation and realize I would be happier if I was confident in my body. I would be happier if I had the confidence to approach somebody. I don't ever want somebody to have their happiness rely on somebody else or a result.
Right.
But I think the pain is a good way for you to realize I would be better off if something changed. So it was comfort for me, doing just the things that made me feel good.
So let's go deeper on that. So you used to define being happy as doing what felt good. Mm-hmm. How do we know when something feels good but isn't good for us versus something that feels good that is?
That's a good question. I think, again, it all goes to... It was easy for me as a 26-year-old man to go home and just watch Netflix all weekend because for the entire week I was so burnt out from work.
Right.
So for me, I thought my happiness was making money. I thought my happiness was building my net worth. And so for me, it was easy just to hang out and do nothing. And I think it all starts with your end goal. My end goal was to make money. I was making money, which I thought would make me happy, so I didn't have to do anything else. I didn't have to do anything that made me grow. I didn't have to do anything that expanded my skill set. I didn't have to do anything that made me a more conscious, better version of myself because I thought money was happiness.
You talk about necessity all the time. You didn't have the necessity.
I had none.
Right.
I was making money, so I thought that was it. I thought if you said to me, Kevin, if you're reverse engineering happiness, how did you do it? Okay, make as much money as possible.
Okay.
And then that was kind of it.
Right.
I didn't do things that fulfilled me because I didn't know what fulfilled me because I never got out of my comfort zone.
What about now?
This is a great topic because I was literally talking to Taryn, my beautiful girlfriend, shout out to you, yesterday, and I said, I want you to know I appreciate how you push me out of my comfort zone. Because we were talking the other day, and she's like, so what do you want to do that's fun? And I was like, I don't even know. I don't think my idea of fun is normal. Like, I just want to watch UFC. I want to go to the gym. I said, my idea of fun is punching somebody in the face and getting punched in the face. I enjoy that. And most people don't. So for me, happy has changed. Happy to me now means I want to be the most complete version of myself. And that doesn't mean like I always have to do things that like the easy things, the things I want to do. No. Did I want to do the trip to Florida? Did I want to do the trip to Arizona? No, I didn't. I was scared to do them.
Right.
I genuinely was. It did not make me happy boarding the plane. It didn't. But I also, because I have, in order to have a speedometer or a barometer of how close to your goals you're actually getting, you have to have the macro. And the macro to me was speaking, podcasting, a book, coaching,
Right.
masterminds, all of these things. So I knew I had to do it. I had to do it. Now, looking back, I'm incredibly happy that I did.
It's interesting because I think happiness is a byproduct of everything you just described, even though in the moment that didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it depends on what your goal is.
Yeah.
I would say if your goal is to be comfortable all the time, I'm not going to say you'll never be happy, but you're going to wonder why you're not happier than you are. You're going to say, like, I'm getting exactly what I want. I should be happy. No, you're getting the results of what you think you want. And that's not what you actually want. You want something else. You just haven't either realized it, dug for it, or discovered it yet. Like, I thought I just wanted to be like a homebody and do nothing. No, that's my insecurities, man. My insecurities are telling me I'd be happy that way.
Okay, so at one point you thought that that's what you wanted, but now you realize that was fear
Yeah, even
convincing you want that?
Yeah, dude. Even to this day, I have to force myself out sometimes. My natural reaction. This is what I told Taryn. I said, you have to gauge me and let me know on how I'm doing on giving you fun, unique experiences because I'm not the same as you. I don't value them as highly as you.
Right.
They're also out of my comfort zone, so I don't tend to think of them. Now, if you bring something up, like we went and did a couple brewery tours, It was awesome.
Yeah, right.
It was awesome, but I never would have suggested it probably.
Yeah.
because I'm not focused on that. And I think a lot of that is fear and uncertainty.
Well, the perception of the upside from your perspective is not as high, and you have a bigger downside because of the anxiety.
Right.
So it's like you probably won't be as proactive naturally.
Right. And that's
So you kinda have
what I was trying to say. Like,
Right.
my idea of happiness might be sitting inside and watching UFC, right? But how long am I going to be able to get away with that before Taryn's like, yeah, can we like go out? Can we like put on real clothes and go out?
Right.
So it would literally say it got to the point where, she gave me like the talk of like, hey, I really need you to step up as a boyfriend and start taking me out. That happiness then wouldn't matter anymore. It'd be like, wait, all that time that I was quote unquote happy, I wasn't making my partner happy. So that by default, that's not what happiness is.
Right. Well, that was micro wins for
Right.
macro losses.
Right.
Yeah.
This is deep.
I already digging it. Second question. I often say that I don't think you should do what makes you happy. I think you should do what makes you great because I think and believe that what makes you great will actually make you happy, for everyone out there. Now, for our listeners, Kev, what's your take on that? And what do you think are the fundamental must ingredients to sustain happiness now?
Oh,
Like the musts. What are the fundamental musts?
Okay, I definitely agree with you. I think that if you asked me 2 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. I wasn't the type of person to run towards discomfort. I wasn't the type of person, and I'm still not always. I think I do a good job of it,
I do too.
but I could do better for sure. I could always be doing better than
Can
I
you
am.
give me an example? Because I sometimes I wonder to myself, like, I know intellectually I could do better too, but I'm wondering where I am stopping myself.
I don't know if I could actually. It's always in the moment of like I could do this right now. I don't know like an example. Like, well, I think I did a good job with doing the brewery tour thing because my natural reaction was just give reasons not to do it. Like, why shouldn't I do this?
Right.
And then I was driving somewhere and I was like, you're doing this. Like, stop it. Just cut it out.
That's hyper-conscious right there.
I know, but
You're literally like,
I'm
wait a
trying
minute.
to
Yeah,
fix-
you're figuring out your old training.
Right.
And then like overriding it.
Yeah, but I tried it the old way. I tried to be happy
the
the
old
old
way
way.
sucked.
And the old way sucked.
Right.
You know? So what I think growing and contributing, experiencing new things, and proving to yourself, either proving yourself right or wrong, proving yourself right that you are capable of the things that you are doing, or proving yourself wrong that your anxiety and your fears have to control your life. But the growth and contribution thing, we've talked about that many times. I think that is what a lot of people lack. I think it's one of those things that you can't see. You don't necessarily see contribution, but you feel it.
Yeah, you definitely
you
feel
definitely feel when somebody sends you a message that says you changed my life.
it. I know. It's everything.
I'm contributing to that, and there is nothing that no amount of money can replace that.
I know.
I've had it. It
Yeah.
doesn't, right?
Yeah, right.
You've had it.
It's the best feeling.
It's the
like
best feeling.
fulfillment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody you've ever asked probably says in some form, on some level, I like to help others.
Right.
Imagine if you could make a living helping others in your own unique, specific way.
Right.
You know, how happy would you be?
And if you think about making money, that's technically what the economy runs on.
Yeah.
Adding value to others in the service of others, products and services. They give you money. No one just gives money away for free unless it's to a charity or a good cause. But
Right.
even then, there's a reason behind
But
it.
think about it. You and I love podcasting.
Yes.
So throughout this journey, we've had to learn how to make money through podcasting, through coaching, now it's speeches,
Yep.
the website. Like, the only reason we did that is because we want to keep doing this as much as humanly possible.
And even more of it.
No matter what, we were going to do this.
Right.
So why not try to make a living out of it and make our dream lives out of it and travel and have these awesome masterminds and these connections and these friends and these, you know what I mean?
Imagine if the whole world thought that way.
Well, that's the goal.
It's a world I one day want to live in.
I don't know if I answered your question.
You did. So I have the question was, what are the ingredients of happiness? The musts. So you said growth, contribution, things that force you to be proud of yourself,
New experiences.
new experiences,
Fear chasing.
fear chasing. What are some other ones? If we're trying to make the chicken soup
I would
of
say
a happy life,
fulfilling relationships.
fulfilling relationship.
Yeah, not just and I think there's a lot of people who have empty relationships.
Okay.
And I think you need a relationship, not even an intimate one. Like you and I have a very fulfilling relationship. Matt and I have a very fulfilling relationship.
Right.
We don't just talk about the weather.
But yeah.
You know, we talk about our plans, we talk about our insecurities, we talk about our fears, we talk about our struggles. And if you're only staying at the baseline, the person that you're talking to doesn't know you that well.
Right.
There's a reason you and I are so close. I know everything about you.
Just about, yeah.
Right. I know a lot about Matt. Matt knows a lot about me. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people are missing, that connection. Everybody wants to connect.
I had something, mini breakthrough right here. Think about what you just said. So you know everything about me. I think that's one of the things that you think makes the relationship more fulfilling, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
There's also risk associated with that. In other words, Kevin knows things about me that most people don't know, and I think a lot of people hold themselves back from experiencing the fulfillment that you and I share as friends because they're afraid of the repercussions potentially of other person. Like if they don't let someone in, Like, think about that in an intimate relationship or friendships or even with family members. Like, if you don't let someone in and know the real you, you're not going to experience the fulfillment that Kevin's describing because you're allowing the fear of the potential downside to, like, affect you. You know what I mean?
I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
Like, no. So, like, let's say something happened and we got in a fight. You would have more leverage against me.
Oh yeah.
But that's the thing. There is no way you and I can share all of those things about ourselves and experience this friendship at this level without that risk. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
people hold themselves back because they're afraid.
Yeah, but I think it depends on the people you surround yourself with.
Mm.
I'm never worried about. Me,
I know.
You know
Me
what I
neither.
mean?
Me neither.
I
yeah.
don't care.
Right.
And it's not that I don't care. Like, I'm sure if you aired some of my stuff out, it probably wouldn't feel good, right? For sure.
Yeah. Right.
But it's not something I'd like lose sleep over. I know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have told you the things if I didn't trust you. That's that bond.
It's the trust, but I also think it's because you're getting more and more comfortable with people knowing the truth.
So let's
about
be.
you.
This was what I was going to bring up in the last episode. If you guys listen to this, the one with Tori Aletto, I talked about how I had an addiction to porn.
Right.
This is why I say that reverse engineering anything is of the most importance. Because in the moment, did it make me happy to say that? No.
No.
Nope. Was I expecting like somebody like there you go. I just gave anybody the fuel to diss me whenever they want. Like somebody could easily slide in my DMs and say like, and make fun of me. Cool,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Feel free.
Yeah.
But the only reason I'm willing to do that, the only reason I'm willing to share that stuff is because I've reverse engineered that I have to be that guy. I want to be the person who helps you say like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Right.
That's why I do it.
Right.
Because you're not the only one. I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Right.
So I know you're not.
Even though everyone wants to pretend
Right,
everybody's
right.
perfect.
Yeah. There's 100 guys in a room and they're all like, oh, I don't watch porn.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You're the only guy then. Okay.
Yeah. You're
All of us are the only guy.
so true.
But
so
I think
true.
that's you have to reverse engineer it because then you know what you're willing to do along the way. And that's who I want to be.
That's an interesting thing. We'll get into that a little bit too, but reverse engineering who you want to be and then setting goals that will make that of you. But I think that's probably a different episode. So why do you think that a lot of people aren't happy? And what are 5 things that the listeners can implement immediately to change that?
Jesus, 5.
5.
All right,
yeah.
so I think a lot of people aren't happy because they are seeking validation or happiness from outside sources. And at the end of the day, all of that stuff is rented.
Right.
Your relationships are great. Like they should make you happier. They should make you more fulfilled. They should make you, have that connection.
Right.
But it all starts with you. You're the foundation upon everything in your life.
Hands down.
And if you're feeling broken, if you're feeling empty, you cannot search to get that filled with other people because that is a micro win. When they leave, if they leave, you're going to be back to ground zero. And you're going to have to start all over again. And I've done that. I think many people have done that. I jumped from relationship to relationship because I thought that would make me happy. But I think that, and another thing is, so many people do stuff that they don't like. Do you think most people like to go sit in an office with artificial light, with no lights, no windows,
Right.
for 10 hours a day, 5 days a week?
No.
I think most people probably don't. Now, the better question is there something you would rather be doing?
Right.
And I think there is for most people, right? There was something I'd rather be doing.
So I want to get back to the 5 after this, but this keeps jumping off the page several times on this episode. So what about the people that are telling themselves they're happy when they really fucking aren't?
Why are you telling yourself you're happy?
I encounter this a lot. And here's the thing, it's a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, no, like I'm happy with the way things are." I think that's crap a lot of the time because I think that the truth is you're afraid to go for more. I find this constantly. And it's like, wait a minute, are you really happy? Are you really proud of yourself? Are you really living a level 10 life? And that's why I often ask my clients at the beginning of every call, like, I've started doing this. A 0 out of 10 is I hate my life, I'm miserable, I don't want to be here anymore, everything sucks. That's a 0 out of 10. A 10 is when I'm living my dream life, everything's incredible, I'm absolutely amazing. Every single day I wake up feeling like $1 million in every way. Okay, so usually it's somewhere around 6, 7, or 8. And then I say, what is something you can start doing today that would get you closer to a 10? And then we kind of dissect that. So I guess 2 questions. Number 1 is, why do you think most people are afraid to admit they're unhappy? Therefore, getting rid of the one thing that would create positive change. Because as soon as you admit you're unhappy, guess what? You have to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people are scared shitless of. So that's the first question. And the second one is, how can we convince people that admitting you are not satisfied is actually a good thing? That's the start to all change.
So number 1, I think a lot of times it's easier to sweep stuff under the rug. Again, we've talked about the meme where it says like, it'll show somebody like really nervous, and it says like when you're getting ready to check your bank account, or like, you'll see a meme of somebody like super happy driving down the street saying like, I haven't checked my bank account in a month because I'm down to my last $2 or something. If you're listening, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Sometimes it's easier not to know, because when you don't know the monster, you don't have to look at it. You can pretend it's not there. Or it's there, you just don't have to look at it directly and you hope that it goes away. I think that's a thing for sure, because again,
Right.
I've been
But that's
there.
micro win again.
Of course.
All of these come down to micro wins.
It's easy to have micro wins when you don't have a macro goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to have the macro goal to know that the micro losses, the micro growth, the micro pain, the micro mud is worth it. So I think that's one. And I think number 2, they don't know how to fix it. It's hard. It's hard to admit. It's easy to admit something when you know exactly how to fix it.
Right.
It's hard to admit something when you're just admitting it, and then you have to figure out, okay, now it's out there. Now what am I supposed to do?
Right.
Like now that's
Right.
just out there.
Right.
What was the other thing?
Well, something else that I wanted to ask you was, pre-podcast Kevin, did he even know he was unhappy, or did he just think this is how it is?
Dude, people used to tell me all the time, this is just how it is. Everybody has to work a job that like they're not that happy about. You have to pay the bills. Like, how are you going to pay the bills?
Right.
Yeah, no, for sure. I
Isn't
didn't
it
know.
weird how I haven't heard anyone say that in so long?
Well, you don't surround yourself with,
right.
I've been working since I was 16. Working, like full time since I was 16, basically. So by the time I got out of the rat race, so to say, I had been already working for 14 years.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's
Like,
definitely
imagine
crazy.
if your goal was just to pay the bills.
My goal was to make money, and I was doing it, and I didn't see any other way to do it.
And the only way you're going to see another way is someone can show you that. But how do you, if you're not around those kinds of people, you're kind of just like, you think that's just how it is?
Yeah.
So I guess you didn't know there was another option? How do we show people?
No, because there wasn't another option to make money like I was making. That's what I mean. You have to figure out what you actually think happiness is. Because if you think it's money, you'll never take the shot at starting from ground zero. You'll never take the jump to say, like, I have to go all the way back to start here and figure out everything all over again.
Right.
That's the only reason I did. Like I've said on this podcast and when I've been interviewed on other ones, is overnight for me it went from money to the podcast. The second it did, I stopped caring.
The theme is becoming you have to sometimes give up short-term, quote-unquote, happiness for
For
long-term fulfillment.
Yeah.
For long-term happiness.
But you have to know what your idea of long-term happiness is in order to figure out if you're willing to give up the short term.
How do we help people with that? That's one of the ingredients, a macro goal.
Yeah.
Right?
So when you said, I don't necessarily think we should say like, are you actually happy? Because some people may lie. I know I used to lie and say, yeah, I actually am. Could you be happier? Are you as happy as you could be? Because if you say no, then you're going to have to give an excuse. No, I'm not, but I have to work this job because I have to pay the bills. Okay, cool. Is there another job you could work where you would be happier that you could still pay the bills? Because I know there is.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding it. It's a matter of taking the time, investing the time, investing the energy and the effort to doing it.
Right.
So I think you should say, am I as happy as I could be with my job? Could I be happier? How could I be happier? I think you have to ask yourself those questions because you and I are very happy with what we do.
Oh, yeah.
Will we be happier in the future? Probably. When
sure.
circumstances are different? Probably.
Right.
But we know that, and that's what we're going for. I think it goes back to grateful dissatisfaction in certain aspects. We got to bounce here in a minute.
We got to wrap up.
Yeah, it's already 20-something minutes.
10-second blip on happiness. One thing I just really quickly want to give to the listeners, if you've heard me say this before, repetition is everything. If not, this is what I believe we should have been taught but never were taught in terms of happiness. I wanted to bring this to everybody. Joy, happiness, and fulfillment. Kevin and I have talked about this before. Joy is when you're in the process of doing something that you are enjoying and experiencing in the moment, okay? Happiness is if then. It's winning or losing. In other words, it's in the pursuit of a specific result. Did I get the result or not? I'm going to this interview. Did I get the job or not? If I did get the job, then I am quote-unquote happy, dopamine hit. If I didn't, then I am quote-unquote sad, okay? Fulfillment only comes, I believe, when you are working toward a macro goal that forces you to grow and contribute beyond yourself. Now, if you think about it, when we say quote-unquote being happy, that's only 1/3 of the equation. If the old Kevin's idea of happiness was feeling good in the moment, he only had the joy part. That's only 1/3 of the equation.
Yeah.
You need to try to have all three of these as much as possible, but think about it this way. Sometimes you're going to have to give up joy in the moment in order to go for something more fulfilling in the long term. And another thing, failing forward, happiness, if it's result reliant, you're not going to be happy all the time because you're going to have to lose a lot of the time in order to win on the macro level.
I dig it. I
What's
agree.
What's a 10-second blip for the listeners?
Close your eyes, and not if you're driving, but close your eyes and think to yourself, what is my dream life? What would I be doing in this dream life? Who would I be sleeping next to? Where would I be living? What would my day-to-day look like? If it's watching Netflix all day, I'm telling you right now, you're not thinking of an actual future. You're thinking of what's comfortable in the moment. This is going to be more than 10 seconds.
That's fine.
I know what it's like to think that just hanging out will make you happy. It will make you happy for short bursts, but it will make you far happier if you're doing it when you're tired because you're grinding and chasing your dreams. I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact. So I commend you for listening to this podcast, but it's because it's going to make you think about, what do I really want to do with my life? And that's what we're here to help you with. Because at one point I didn't know what I wanted to do. Now I'm living my dream every single day, and it's only because, well, it's because of so many things, but
Right.
but it's because I reverse engineered what I thought would make me, happy.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. If you have not joined our private Facebook group yet, head on over to the hyperconsciouspodcast.com, click Join Hyperconscious Nation. It will take you there. Also, we have a limited amount of tickets left for our event in Groton on September 25th from 6:30 to 9. And then also, we have an event coming up in Boca Raton, Florida, somewhere around the Boca area, on September 4th.
Right now, we're working on booking a venue called Margaritaville. On the ocean, 500 plus seats. It's going to be epic.
So we are doing all sorts of good things. We appreciate you guys for taking this journey with us. And again, Alan and I challenge you to sit down and figure out, what does happiness actually mean to you?
Right.
What do you want your life to look like? If you were living your dream life and you said, I am so happy for the life I have created, what would that life look like? Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Up next, we are going to do a Scratching the Surface episode on one of Alan's strengths, networking.
Aw, thank you, man.
You're very welcome.
Happiness is in the pursuit of your own unique version of greatness that contributes to the world. That's all I have.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, we will talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening to another episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast.
Going hyperconscious will absolutely change your life, because if you understand why something is the way it is, now you have the power to change it. If you going hyperconscious with us has changed your life in any way, please share this episode with one of your friends, because the more people that go hyperconscious, the better this world's going to be for everybody.
And if you would kindly leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, that would help us make more people hyperconscious, and we would be greatly appreciative.
Thank you.
Bye.